I was waiting on God to kind of answer a question. I mean, legitimately had something I needed God to show up for. And I just felt like he was silent. Like, you've been there where he's quiet. And you're like, what in the world? Like, I believe my entire life. And now I feel like you're ghosting me, God. Like, where are you? And so I remember going for a walk in my neighborhood, and I ended up kind of by this creek with a bridge. I was standing on the bridge. And I started tearing up, which was weird in and of itself. I don't like to cry, surely not on a bridge in the middle of my neighborhood. But I was tearing up, and I felt like the Lord just kind of planted on my spirit, like, go down by that creek. And so I did. And I was like, this is getting weird. But as I was down there, I saw all the rocks, and I started thinking about the Israelites crossing over, right, over dry ground. And on the other side, what they do, they got 12 rocks, and they made a makeshift altar. And I felt like the Lord was saying, you need to stack some stones. And so I just started pulling little rocks in this creek bed. I got one for like healthy kid, another one for another healthy kid. I got another one for my husband got a job we really needed. Another rock for when my husband nearly died from encephalitis, but the Lord healed him. And I started stacking these stones there. And it wasn't stones that kept me from the hardship. It wasn't like, oh, thank goodness nothing hard happened. It was stones that despite that, God was good. And I just had this sense of that the Lord was saying, like, listen, I'm not always a remove the hardship kind of God, but I am a remember who I am kind of God. And if he's the same yesterday, today, and forever, then if he's been faithful in the past, he will be faithful again. Will it look like we want it to always? No. Will it happen in our time frame? Surely not. But he doesn't remove the hardship, but he does remind us that a long memory of his goodness goes a long way. I think Max Lucado says that, like, always having a long memory of God is the best way to show gratefulness and to trust him in the really hard, messy places. And so that was kind of my moment of like building a little altar and have those stones stacked. And I now, even in my own life, I like to have stones on my desk, and I write dates on them. I also have little like reminders on my calendar. Those are kind of my stones of remembrance too, that they remind me every year. I have a curly-headed little boy that runs around my house that's 8 years old. That is like my greatest stone of remembrance from adopting him and just seeing how the Lord's like, I was faithful. I did something great here. Like, you can trust me.